be a sponge, and then bring the juice.
By focusing on your improvement, by focusing on your progress, and eliminating any fixed mindset that you may have and acts of perfectionism, then you encourage your own mastery.
On some level, we do what we want to do 24 hours a day. Now, sometimes it may not seem like that, but if I'm choosing to work instead of sleep, what I'm actually saying is keeping my job is more important than sleeping.
I'm tired of this. I'm tired of getting beat. What can I do to get over this hump? So mentally, that's when I kind of put that forefront, like, hey, it's either all or nothing.
I like to put failure in quotations because I don't believe that failure is true failure if you're looking at it with the right mindset.
The truth is, the journey to greatness is hard. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes focus, and every day you have to decide what you value, what you want to pursue, and what you want to achieve. And if you dig deep enough, if you push hard enough, we all have what it takes to be great. Welcome to the Edge of Greatness. Hello and welcome to the Edge of Greatness. I'm your coach, Charles Schultz, and I'm excited to have you here today. Last episode of 2023. Hope you guys had an awesome Christmas. I know I did. Traveling, got to see my parents, got to see my sister. This is one of the years, your kids are young. I don't know about you guys out there listening, but my kids are young. I'm sorry. And every present, everything is just, whoa, awesome. And there's something exciting about that, when they actually appreciate every little thing and they just want to open things. Like, you could literally put a pair of socks in there and they jump up and down and go, Mario, on my socks. And I think too often we forget these moments and we try to rush things along and get to the future and move through life. And we don't sit and just enjoy the fact that at this particular moment, the simple things are just extremely enjoyable. So I had a great Christmas. I hope you guys did as well. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you had a nice time off because obviously a large portion of the world shuts down around this time of year, and maybe you got a nice little day to yourself. Before we dive into the meat and potatoes of the last episode of 2023, I do want to make one announcement, and that is NGBN TV will be coming to a television screen near you sometime around the end of January. Keep your eyes out for that. I will be one of the shows that'll be starting and launching the network, and it will be just like any other television network. We're going to have 24 hours of streaming television. We'll have a catalog of on-demand shows, and we'll do concert, sports, live events, and our regularly scheduled television shows. So, I believe that this is going to be something that is going to be very enjoyable, very special. I just watched a show last night called Decades, which I've enjoyed greatly so far. I think that it's a fun back and forth between different generations talking about topics. And I think that you guys will get a lot of joy and value out of this new network that's coming. So keep your eyes out, keep your ears open, pay attention to some of the links because I will walk you through how to download the app onto your TV, onto your phone, so you can start to watch the shows as we get closer. With that in mind, I am still looking for some sponsors to fill some of the ad space that'll be accompanying the commercials. As a new television show, we will now be going throughout the episode. We will have television commercial breaks. Something new for me, something I'm not used to. But I'd love to fill it with people who have been a supporter and fan of the show from the beginning. If that's somebody out there that's listening that goes, hey, I could use some ad space, connect with me. I've got some special onboarding pricing that's, I think, very reasonable for the beginning of this television network launch. they will only go up. That's just the nature of it. Once I start to figure out how this whole TV thing works, I know that the prices will increase. Also, so with all of that being said, let's get to today's episode sponsor, ASEA Redox, a scientifically shown signal activating gene molecule. It's their regenerative supplement. Here we go. I got it right here for those of you who are watching. It is designed to help improve immune system health, help maintain a healthy inflammatory response, help maintain cardiovascular health and support arterial elasticity, improve gut health and digestive enzyme production, modulate hormone balance, and support vitality and wellness. If you are somebody looking to make health changes in the new year, give them a look. I'll have a link in the show notes. You can get to it that way. And I think that's something that can make a big difference in your efforts to get healthy this year. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. I feel like we've talked a lot about some of the stuff that doesn't necessarily always take the front of the content here, but what I want to talk about today is reflection. I think a lot of times we get to the end of the year and we feel like we didn't make any progress. We feel like we didn't go anywhere. We feel like we just had all these great plans and these huge goals and then nothing happened. And while we may not be where we want to be in this moment, I guarantee you're further along than where you were at the end of last year. But too often, again, we look and we get stuck looking at the mistakes and the misses and the losses that we forget to appreciate just how much we've won or gained or grown. And today and throughout the rest of this week, I want you to look back down the mountain, not up at the peak that you're still trying to get to, but back down the mountain and just see how far you've come. I'm guessing you've done a lot more than you realized, even if it's not anywhere close to the goals you've set. But that's the challenge of pursuing a high level of excellence. You're not always going to hit the mark. You're not always going to win. But if you get a little bit closer each time, then over time, that's where the wins happen. It's a cumulative effect. So like for example, my life, I had great plans to turn my coaching business, my podcast, and some of these other things into revenue generating sources. And we're not there yet. I wanted to build this thing up, have this huge thing going. But life had other ideas at this particular moment. But when I look back over the course of my year, a lot of really cool things happen, a lot of big milestones, a lot of change and opportunity are being presented to me. The first thing is I made a big change this year. For those of you who have been following along, I sold my gym, something that I had been doing for 15 years. I've been training, and 10 years I've owned the gym. That alone is a huge step towards making this the future of what I do. With that, we also sold our house in Columbus and moved to Worcester. We started getting things set up around here. We're actually doing a renovation of the kitchen right now. We're an absolute train wreck over here. So don't come visit. We'll call you after the new year and we'll see what's happening there. But, I turned 40 this last year. That was a cool milestone. Another time that I got to spend with the family down in Hilton Head. That was awesome. I have started coaching people online. I started writing a new book. I am developing a coaching course. I got back into coaching and I'm working with a softball team here in Worcester. A lot of my time that I was planning to use to build this business and to do these things, I had to reallocate towards being a daddy daycare. With 3 kids, that is an expensive thing to have on the docket every month. So I made the decision that it's time for me to do why I sold the gym and why we moved here is spend more time with my kids. So I stepped up and said, this is what we're going to do. It's little things like that, which was a win and a loss, depending on how you look at it. It's a loss as far as the time that I got to spend with my business, but it's a win as far as the time I get to spend with my kids. And that win outweighs the loss. And I think this is how you should reflect. Because there are times where you win, but it's in a different way than you anticipated or expected. And that's why we look at it and go, I didn't win a whole lot because I was trying to win this and I didn't realize I won that. Okay? Spend time looking back. Appreciate the little steps or the little wins or the things that have changed because of the actions you've taken. You're going to surprise yourself with how much you have going forward to build off of, to be excited about. One of the really exciting things is even with all of the things I have going on and the lack of time that I've been able to commit to doing all the stuff that I wanted to, as I mentioned at the beginning, the podcast is going to the television network, NGBN TV. I think that this is a huge opportunity for not only my growth personally, but as the podcast goes or the now television show goes, there are going to be a lot of opportunities on the back end of things where I can kind of start to connect the dots and grow all the things that I wanted to through this opportunity. It's exciting for me. I'm really looking forward to that. And that's built momentum into the end of this year and looking forward to next year. So as you sit down this week, as you start to prepare for the new year, again, don't get stuck with where you are. Don't feel like because I didn't reach the summit, I didn't do anything. Because odds are you've made huge strides. The problem is when we're always constantly chasing something that's greater and in front of us, and you never stop to look back at how far up the mountain you've actually come, it's easy to get stuck and lost in this I didn't go anywhere mindset. Okay? Appreciate all the little wins. Appreciate all the steps you've made forward, because climbing mountains is hard. Winning big games is hard. Getting to where you achieve the huge goals you have in your life is hard. So you have to find time to appreciate the wins. Okay? Before I dive into this next section, I do want to mention that if you've been following some of my content online, you've probably noticed that I've been making some new shorts and clips. This is because of a tool I use called Opus Clip. Opus Clip is a AI-powered clip generator that allows for me to plug in a video like this, and in turn, they spit out AI-generated clips based on what I was saying with captions, and it eliminates the time it takes me to go back and go through the episode, listen, cut, paste, connect. It does it all for you. I think that it's an incredible tool, and it has made my content 1,000 times better. So Opus Clip is what I've been using, and I will make sure that you have access to it as well through a link in the show notes. Make sure you go check them out. If you're somebody who creates content, you're somebody who puts out a lot of video, streamline this. Make it easier for yourself. Don't get stuck trying to do it all by yourself. With that in mind, that is something that I have absolutely learned this year, is not to do everything alone. And so if you're somebody who is like I used to be and wanting to try to get all of these things done by yourself, wanting to always be responsible for doing what is required, I've been there, man. I understand. I get it. Connect with me if you need help. All right. I'm here for you. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it by yourself. Sometimes more than likely. You need that other perspective. You need that person who's not connected to the thing so much. And by looking in that direction, by stepping backwards and letting somebody else in, you can open up a lot of doors that you don't realize are starting to open, that are cracked, and give yourself a chance to step through. So I hope you guys had a wonderful 2023. I hope you guys had an incredible Christmas and are setting up for a wonderful new year. Next week, to start the new year, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to dive into goal setting and how I break down my goals, how I attack things. So make sure you keep your eyes open, tune in, be aware of what we got going on over here. And the other thing is keep your eyes open for the announcements. As we get into January, as we start to move forward, we're going to talk a lot about the NGBN network and what that looks like and how that's going to work. And as part of that, I would love to hear where you would like to see this show go. Because as I change to a new type of production, I'm very open to providing opportunities and services for you guys that fits the direction that you think you'd like to see the show go. I know I'm going to still do talks like this. I know I'm still going to have people on and do interviews. Ultimately, though, where do you feel you get the most? What areas help you? What are some of the topics? What are some of the content pieces that you're like, yes, I'm tuning into that. That makes me excited for what's to come. The more feedback you can give me, the more attention I can give you. And overall, as the year goes on, we can evolve this show into something that you look forward to seeing each week. I really believe that there's a lot of value to be given. I just want it to make sure that it's connected to what it is you want to receive. So have a wonderful and safe new year. As always, keep reaching for the stars. Fall flat on your face, but remember, whenever you fall, always get up. Thank you for joining us today on the Edge of Greatness podcast. If you haven't yet, please take a minute now to subscribe and review our show. Join us again next week as we continue to dig deeper into the key components of greatness. The path to greatness is never linear, so remember to keep pursuing greatness no matter what. Keep stretching your abilities, reach for the stars, and fall flat on your face. But remember, no matter what happens, whenever we fall, always get up. Until next time, I'm Charles Schultz, and this was the Edge of Greatness podcast.